increased focus on legalized gambling, does this change how you engage with your audiences? What it means for the Cubs, Blackhawks, Red Stars, and Big Ten. I'm very interested in that, and I'm just a guy who's played dirt and grass, but
Mhm.
let's see how
I
we
mean,
go.
in my world, it came fast and furious because I was not a gambler. So I would be trying to figure out what do they mean by spread and what does this mean with the odds? And then all of a sudden, as soon as it got legalized in enough places, then there was an anticipation that across our network, whether it's radio or television or otherwise, that there's going to be full shows about gambling, that there's going to be segments where you bring on, you know, the sharps and they tell you what to do. So I'm still trying to learn from the journalist perspective and understand that it is a massive revenue driver, and it's one that all of these leagues are going to want a piece of if for the longest time everybody else has made money off of it and not them. As for the Red Stars, we're still across the country and in Illinois making sure that the rules still apply to women's leagues as well. There's plenty of sports books that don't carry women's sports the same way they do men. So we're still pushing for equality there because plenty of people want to be chasing on a Red Stars game just as much as they're chased anywhere else. So yeah, I mean, it's been, to speak to everyone's points on the last year, that has also proved that something can happen quickly and massively. You know, obviously gambling, it was a long time coming, but once it hit, it's overhauled a whole lot of spaces.
They say that money corrupts, so it's gonna have to be really a controlled environment, especially in college. I mean, we start paying the kids to play or to be there, and then the gambling comes in. There's all sorts of propensity for bad things to happen. Same with the old Black Sox. Remember those guys years ago? Money gets people to the wrong places. What do you think, Kevin and Crane? What do you think about, and Jamie? How are you going to control it? What do you think that it's the end run's going to be here?
Well, I'll jump in. So first of all, it is a huge new field, and as you know, with us, we've made a partnership with DraftKings. They'll be the official sports betting partner for our team. We're going to be building a sports book here at Wrigley Field, just like they are at the United Center, where people can place in-person wagers. A lot of it will be mobile. The majority of the sports betting will be mobile, so it'll be register, you know, at your favorite sports betting site, DraftKings or other, and place your wager while you're in the ballpark. And you know, it's interesting in baseball. You know, we've been watching mound ball and various other sports betting activities since I was 15 years old. What's interesting for me now is I got a mid-20s son. There isn't probably a single event he watches that he doesn't have a wager of, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5 on. And you know, I always ask him, I said, you know, you can't afford to be wagering on all these games. And he'll say, hey Dad, it's like $5. And it just makes the game more interesting to him. And, you know, March Madness has been the source of sports betting in your firm, Ed, and mine, for 30 years. And whether it was sanctioned or not, this has been happening for a long, long time is my point, whether it's mound ball at a Wrigley game or March Madness in our various places of employment. And so it's, in some ways, we're bringing it out of the darkness, and out of the shadows and into the light, and it's being regulated. I think you make a very good point on amateur athletes and athletes in general, to make sure that this doesn't corrupt their play on the field. Although that's been an issue forever as well. And I think we all know with Pete Rose and some of the Black Sox scandals and other things we've talked about with our officials too, in getting caught up in it. So there's been a need for regulation. I think we've brought it out of the darkness and into the light to some degree, very highly regulated. It's become more legitimized. So I think we do have to worry about people who shouldn't be wagering, getting into this business. And I think a lot of education is necessary there. So we have a big effort in front of us to make sure it's done well. But I also think it's additive. And kind of to Jamie's point about losing a generation of fans to Fortnite. You know, this is something that is very appealing to the younger generation, the younger demo. And I think if we do it well, both from the business side as well as the consumer side, it can be a plus to our games. So you can tell I'm supportive of it, but again, agree on the need for education and regulation.
Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with all those points. I think gamification is huge. And I think it will change how we interact and give us opportunities to reach new fan bases. So people that are just general fans of sports that now want to come in and bet on hockey. So I think it'll change the content that we produce, but I also think we need to approach it with balance, to be aware of making sure that we're doing all the right things from a revenue standpoint, that we are pushing the leagues as well as ourselves to make sure that we're providing the right balance on, gambling, and making sure that we've got the right safety nets there, either with our own employees or with our players and our athletes. So I think we just have to go in eyes wide open, but it's new. I think we're all trying to forge this path together. I think it'll look very different a year from now, but I think everybody's excited about it. We just want to approach it in the right and responsible way.
Kevin?
That's where my head is, especially, mine being different, a little different from an intercollegiate, athletic standpoint. So I'm, very, very focused and to make sure that we address all of these issues, especially with gambling, in a very methodical fashion, because I just think it's, that's critically important. And, the role that it plays in college athletics, currently in the future, is something that I will always, be concerned about. And I just want to make sure that we keep the sanctity and the kind of the essence of what intercollegiate athletics is about, and be very judicious and cautious of how this grows and the touch points, with the entire, gambling and sports betting area.